my name is Piera Dennerstein. I'm a classically trained soprano and I sing pretty much everything from cabaret to opera. It got to something like the 3rd of March. And within 1 week, every single thing that I'd been booked for the entire rest of the year had disappeared. And further to that, I'm also a teacher, a singing teacher, and a number of my students had their own financial difficulties and could no longer afford to come and see me. So I also lost income through my teaching. Overall, it was a really big change and a really big loss of income. I believe that I heard about the Support Act Crisis Relief Grants somewhere online. It may have been Instagram. And at the time, I was still receiving JobKeeper, but then my JobKeeper payments were cut off. That's when I reached out to Support Act and they stepped in and did the most amazing, relieving, wonderful job. So at the same time of applying for Support Act, I was also applying for JobSeeker through Centrelink. And it took me somewhere along the lines of 8 weeks to finally start receiving JobSeeker because the application process was so horrific. Whereas with Support Act, I applied one afternoon and I think it was 3 hours later, I had received an email from someone at Support Act asking me for the necessary information to put my grant application through. And something like at 10 a.m. the next morning, I had been approved and I started receiving my rent payments. So basically, by receiving the Support Act grant, I was able to basically break even throughout that really financially difficult part of the pandemic. And then as far as all the rest of the biggest expense, which was my rent, was covered by Support Act. So I actually came out of the pandemic without having absolutely nothing left in my savings or having to touch my super, as I know many people had to do. They really saved me financially. Another thing that was really wonderful about my Support Act grant was that not only did I have my rent subsidised, I also received, I think it was around $200 worth of Coles vouchers to use over that period that my rent was being subsidised. So, you know, when you're only earning a very, very small amount of money and that has to go on utilities or whatever, suddenly so many of your concerns are taken away once your groceries are being assisted and your rent is being paid for. And then on top of that, I got a surprise Christmas gift, which was another $250 voucher for Coles over Christmas. It was just wonderful because we were actually able to celebrate with a little bit less stress. And once again, I'm just so grateful.